Today's episode is all about Sam's question. And Sam says, I've always handled my investments without help from a broker or advisor. Is it a terrible idea for me to keep doing this as I get older? Well, we'll ask a financial advisor, Frank Oliver, coming up next. All right, so a challenging question today from Sam.
Sure.
Frank, he's never talked to anybody like you,
Right.
An advisor. Even says he's never even gotten help from a broker about anything. So
Right.
seems like a true DIYer here.
Absolutely.
But there must be something rattling around in Sam's brain saying, maybe this little voice of reason back there saying,
Sure.
Are you sure? Because he's saying, is it a terrible idea for me to keep doing this as I get older? So he's recognizing maybe something there.
Sure. Well, kudos, Sam, for being able to take on this task by yourself for so many years.
We're assuming you've been successful at handling your
Right.
investments.
And I see, I see individuals, especially in the last few years, really jumping into AI, healthcare with the weight loss drugs coming out. If you did a good job of picking a handful of those, you would have done well. That doesn't always happen. And what goes up will come down, So picking a handful of stocks, if that's what you're doing, Sam, can work from time to time. But I always like to, have people remember, a couple of companies in the past, such as Sears, Ward's, Kmart, Oldsmobile,
Some big
Blockbuster,
names.
GE, for example. And the experience of using somebody, whether it's me, an accountant, an attorney that has 20 plus years of experience doing this, we use 30 something, we use dozens of asset managers out there. These asset managers have hundreds of research analysts, and our industry is incredibly innovative in the sense that as the pendulum swings and we get more people retiring, our industry is becoming very innovative again at creating financial tools that are offering great mitigation against stock market volatility. There's some good tax-free strategies out there with some REITs and real estate investments that are kicking off very tax-advantaged income. Learning how to place them in your portfolio, understanding which ones are taxable, which ones are tax efficient, which ones are tax-free, long-term gains, long-term gains, short-term capital gains, ordinary income, and learning how to put these into your portfolio can be quite daunting. We have to go to classes and we talk to these guys that build these products, and we talk to these managers and these wholesalers on a regular basis just to, understand how these instruments work to do the best job for our clients. So I think, at least interviewing, somebody like me or a financial advisor that has, a couple decades of knowledge in this is very beneficial.
One thing, and this isn't necessarily tied to Sam's question here, but one thing I find interesting about the financial industry as a whole, not just from the advisor standpoint, but zooming way out, just the whole it's so competitive.
Absolutely.
And that's such a good thing because everyone's always trying to find the best new thing. And I don't mean that from like a bad way of like, get the new shiny object.
The new shiny
but
thing,
there's constant innovation, as you put it, into trying to find and solve problems because of that competition. And that's a really good thing. So when you tap into working with an advisor, you're also tapping into somebody who's in that competition world and in that innovation world, and you're not just trying to figure all this out on your own.
And I think a lot of people still view advisors as, and we do sell investments, but view as advisors as somebody that's going to sell you investments, right? Where at our firm, my firm here, in addition to the investments, we're going to build a plan, and we're going to look at your entire retirement situation and understand everything from tax perspective, income perspective, Roth conversion perspective, window like Social Security, and how those investments, fit into your situation. What's your cash flow? Is it retirement? Are you going to be positive cash flow, negative cash flow? Do you have a pension? What are your expenses? What are your life's aspirations? And all of that is how you choose your investments. It's not necessarily, I really like Apple, and you would have done very well picking just Apple, but that's kind of a one-off,
There's for every Apple story, there's the Enron story or something similar that you
Enron. I had a client that had $500,000 with GE stock and held on to that for 20 years and ended up selling it for $70,000. So you got to be careful.
Yeah. Good question. Thank you for that one, Sam.
Thank you, Sam.
And a couple of things to think about if you are a DIYer out there. If you'd like to get a second opinion of your financial plan, you can always meet with Frank and go through a consultation. You can book that actually whether you want to meet remotely or in person in the office in Longmont, Colorado. You can do that. The link is in the description of today's show. So whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on the audio apps, just look in that description or show notes section and you can find it pretty easily. Thanks, Frank.
Thank you, Walter.
All right, we'll see everybody next time.
Thanks, everybody.
On the Time Blueprint.
Investment advisory services offered through Creative One Wealth LLC, a registered investment advisor. Oliver Asset Management and Creative One Wealth are unaffiliated entities. Licensed insurance professional. This information is for educational purposes only and should not be construed as advice or a recommendation for your specific circumstances. Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal. Insurance product guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing company. We are not affiliated with any government agency and do not provide tax or legal advice.